Peace and blessings. My name is Carlos Walker, and this is Art and Hustle, Black Authors Matter. And today I got Mr. Carlos Parks with me. How you doing, Mr. Parks?
I'm outstanding, man. I appreciate you for having me, man.
Man, it is an honor. I appreciate you for joining. So before we start, if you will share a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, that's an open end. That's a lot, right? So right now, I'm a real estate agent in the state of North Carolina. I do a little bit of everything though, other than real estate. I'm a real estate investor. I'm a inspirational speaker. I'm a mentor. I just got an appointment as um, adjunct professor of reentry at Durham Tech. Um, uh, Program director, program facilitator, author, artist, entrepreneur.
I love it. Look,
Yeah.
so tell me, tell me a little bit about your book. What's the name of it? What's the inspiration behind it?
All right. So this is my book. My book is called From. I don't know if you hold it.
You
Oh, you
can't
can't
see it
see it.
because of your background. That's cool.
Yeah. It's called From Selling Bricks to Selling Bricks. It's in the background on my screen, but it's basically talks about my journey from selling bricks of cocaine to
Mm-hmm.
selling bricks uh metaphorically or literally in the form of homes, right? Uh we all have a past, and my past unfortunately was not the most positive. I was raised in Lynchburg, Virginia, and at an early age, at the age of 14, I got into the street game, right, in 88. And I excelled at it, right? To be honest, I mean, I excelled somewhere where I wasn't supposed to be doing some things I weren't supposed to be doing. I just happened to be good at them, and that maturation in the street game, right, led to me receiving a 30-year sentence in federal prison in 1998. I was sentenced to 30 years. Learned a lot. Won my appeal. Had my sentence reduced from 30 to 20, and on that 20, I did 17 years. And after successfully transitioning back into society, I had a number of jobs, but ultimately I was led into real estate. And it's my path to real estate is crazy, but today that's what I do today. I'm a real estate agent.
You sell bricks of, as you said, metaphorically, but literally.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
One, I want to commend you for your transition.
Thank
As we both know, a lot of brothers don't. They don't transition.
you.
They
Ah,
stay in what they know.
yeah.
And as you're familiar with my path as well. I commend you for what you've done and what you're doing, even for being an adjunct professor.
Mhm.
And we'll share a little bit about that. I don't know if that's in your book, but share that part. How did you
No, this
become
is
an
this
adjunct
is this
professor?
is yeah, this is fresh. So that's not in my book. I along the way, I've met a lot of good men, right? A lot of good men, strong brothers, right? I love my brothers, man, and one of them opened the door for me, man. A friend of mine, he just recently got his degree. He's an attorney now. He's an esquire, right? He went back and he got his law degree, and a job that he once held came back to him, and he didn't want it because he's an attorney now, and he recommended, he referred me to the young lady who posted the position, and she reached out and she brought me in to the class and spoke with me, extensively, had me speak to the class, and she thought I'd be a good fit, a good instructor. I mean, it's teaching reentry, which is something I actually did, right? I actually have a successful reentry story, right? So I don't see how they could have found anybody more suited for this position.
I
And
like to say God knows how to put you in the right place. Go ahead.
exactly. You know what they say? Those closest to the problem are closest to the solution, right?
Mhm.
So really, I've always wondered why they haven't been using us more, being that we come from the problem, right? We were at one time part of the problem, so of course we would be their best bet of finding a solution, right? And the sooner the society sees these things, the sooner we'll find positions for other individuals like myself and you, because I mean, even though what we've done is exceptional, I think the only difference, right, and I don't see myself as an exception because I feel like anybody given the opportunity, and the will, you have to have a will and
Mm-hmm.
desire, right? But those things added with opportunity create what we have now, and that's success. So yeah, that came about, and man, I'm shocked, but I'm overjoyed at the same time, right?
So I'm pretty sure that in the book, if you will, go a little in depth about
Okay,
maybe even even some of your past, because
so
you have a
yeah,
lot of this in your book. So
got you. Yeah,
I
so
want you to go a little bit in depth about what it means. Like I said, the inspiration is probably changed, but talk to me about it.
okay, so I like the fact that you brought that up, right? Because I feel like our past influenced us in the future, and like I didn't come from, well, I came from a not a well broken home, I guess, because my parents weren't together. I was raised by my mother, and I was raised in Virginia, and all my family was from North Carolina. But that's where my morals were instilled, right? My grandfather was a farmer in North Carolina, so every summer I was on the farm. I was in Goldsboro, North Carolina, every summer working on my grandfather's farm, and that's where I learned really manhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
In order to be a man, you got to see a man, right? So I was around my grandfather, I was around my uncles, my father not so much, right? Because he was out, dealing with his own issues or whatever, right? So but I was able to learn what it meant to be a man by being around good examples of manhood, and I when I would come back to Virginia, really, I think what set me apart was the fact that I knew what a man looked like. So, a lot of my friends didn't have fathers in the house. They didn't have influence. They didn't have that role model. So I kind of became that, right? In my community, I kind of became that for a lot of youth, who and as that role model or father figure, they follow me to really into bad, like I hate to say it, right? I led them astray.
Mm-hmm.
I led them astray. But my book, it transitions from when I was young, like young, like, first when I first moved to Virginia, we used to live in California when I was little, but I transitioned. I take the readers on a ride from my life, right? Through how I saw it, my perspective on things from a young boy all the way to a now 50-year-old man, right? So the transition is what the book base talks about, and it talks about, comparisons between my life in the streets selling drugs, right? And my life now selling houses, and the similarities, right? And how it was a seamless transition for me because I felt like I was going back to something I already knew, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you like with real estate, I flip houses, right? The term flip is what we use in the streets.
You
You
flip
know,
bricks.
you flip bricks, like let me get another junk, flip that, put my profit away, buy another one, put my profit away, buy another one, put my profit away, right? So I'm learning what I'm just doing exactly what I did, right? I'm doing now with legal flips,
Mm-hmm.
right? Legal flips, legal investments, because all it was in the drug game was investing in myself, investing in, and it was, I was investing in something that was, causing the demise of my community. And I see that, and one of the things I feel like we definitely have to learn from it, right? If you don't learn from it, right? If you learn from it, it's not a loss. I don't
No.
see my time away as a loss. I see it as a period of growth, right? I needed it, right? Well, like I don't know the biblical terms, but I do know that there was something in the Bible where God had to punish. I forgot who it was, and he had to punish him. He had to go through the fire, right, in order to come out renewed, right, refined. And I feel like prison was my fire. If prison was my fire, that was my pressure point. And what you see now is the result of me passing that test, going through that fire, right? So yeah, and I'm pretty sure you can relate, right? Sometimes you gotta get a whipping. We
No.
had to we had to get a spanking.
Look, my brother was just talking. Me and my brother, we always talk every morning, build
Yeah,
on principles of God, and that's pretty much what we was talking about. We was talking about just God whoops those that He love. He
Okay.
chastises those that he loves. And because you were one that not that he don't love everybody else, but you
Hmm.
can think about some of your friends and some people that you grew up with. They didn't go do 17 years in prison. And
Yeah.
they probably been in the streets the whole time, may still even be in the streets.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it
It's a
was
lot of
you,
that.
you had to get the whooping. So then guess what? You can come out to be better.
Yeah.
And this is how God does with us. He allows, like you said, you don't see that as a loss. I don't either. You
Yeah.
see it
Yeah.
as being something you had to endure. Jeremiah 29 says, I know the thoughts I have towards you, not to harm you, but to prosper you and give you an expected end. You went through something that felt like harm,
Mm.
only to get set up for prosperity and an expected end. Look at you now. Look at what you're using your voice for. Look at what you're using your impact for. The influence that you had back then is the same influence that you carry now, but you was a prince that been raised into a king, but the prince had to go through a bunch of stuff in order
Yeah.
to own his kingdomship.
Yeah.
And for his father to say, look, I trust you with everything I got. And now you done brought everything that you learned from your past to your present. But your
Yep.
future about to be even crazy. You think, look, being an adjunct at a college is something. I can't tell you what, but I know one thing. I know your future holds something way bigger than what we seeing now. It's
Mm.
the impact that we're about to put. Like you said, they say that the anti venom that they use to heal you from a snake bite
Is the poison.
is the venom that's in the
Yep.
snake. And guess
Yep.
what? You're looking at two products or two. You're looking at the venom that has now become the anti venom to change the community. They are
Yeah.
realizing it now because God has sent us home to make the change.
I like that. I like that analogy, right? Because you're right. All of the ones who the guys who basically destroyed the community are being released. We're home.
And they're coming back with power. With look,
Yeah.
I heard somebody else say they thought they was putting us away for life, but they came back with 10,000 Malcolm X's
Yeah.
because all the information Malcolm went
Yeah.
in, drug dealer, pimp, a little bit of
Yeah.
everything, came out on his dean, but totally different.
Hmm.
We went
Yeah.
in, look, drug dealers, look, some pimps, a little bit of everything, but
Yeah.
men that came back home with a bunch of wisdom, a bunch of knowledge, and only us can take and change the community. You
I
get to
forgot
teach. Go ahead.
who was it? Who was it that said it? I think it was like Maya Angelou or James Baldwin that said, like they tried to bury us, but they didn't know we were seeds.
Look, and look, no,
Yeah.
dead serious. And
Yeah.
that's what happened. We can't, look, we popped up out the ground.
Yeah.
And that's when we first came out. And from then, how long you been home?
8 years.
For 8 years, you've been growing. This
Yeah.
is growth period. This is where your roots get a little deeper into the ground. But what happens is it's yielding fruit now.
Mm.
You're yielding fruit. But this is on look. The fruit ain't even really came yet on your tree. It's coming.
Yeah.
Or it's
Yeah.
happening because you're maturing into who you're supposed to be. But what's about to happen? Fruit about to come.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the fruit that comes is about to be, look, hey, it's gonna feed the community. Look, we about to do
I'm gonna
something
share.
totally different.
I'm gonna share another analogy I used right in my TED talk, and this was I loved when it came to my mind. I was like, we are like caterpillars, right? You know, when we're young, did have you had a chance to see it? When we're young, we're like caterpillars, and caterpillars all they do is destroy. You put caterpillars come out of that way
Eat
of
up
man,
everything.
eat up everything. They eat the whole tree up, man. They destroy the tree, right? But when they go into that cocoon or that chrysalis, right, they come out a butterfly.
Mhm.
And I use that analogy talking about us, right? We're young. When we're young, we're destructive. When we, especially in the streets, we're destructive. We destroy everything, right? But when we go into that cocoon, that chrysalis, right, and we have time to go and we metamorphose. So right now, what they're seeing is the butterflies emerging when we coming back into the community, right? Because the caterpillars are gone. You know, the caterpillars are gone. So you have to focus on the beauty of a butterfly. Nobody looks at a butterfly and thinks about what it, oh, this used to be a caterpillar. You know, nobody thinks about, which is why I shared that, right? When I tell people I'm not Cap anymore, right? Like I'm known by Cap in certain circles, but in here in North Carolina, no one knows that name.
You
They
Carlos.
know Carlos. You know what I'm saying? Because like I'm a butterfly now. I want you to see me. You know, I don't want you to see who I used to be. You know, and a lot of us we come home and we try to continue being caterpillars. Like I know you probably know guys who came home and they wanted to go back to that fame, right? They wanted to be the man again. But you can be the man in other ways, right? Like I don't know how active you were in the art world before incarceration, but I know for me, it
Uh,
ain't pay enough.
look, I didn't know that it paid.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just to give you, because you went there, I wrote a book. It's called my second book. It's called
Okay.
um, The Autobiography of the Butterfly: How the Caterpillar Made It Through.
Wow.
And you didn't even know that, but
That's not the name of your book, man.
I promise you. I look,
That's the name of your book.
I just published the book. It's been out technically 4 weeks, but I just now dropped it because they had to go back and fix something. January 23rd, it just went back into back on Amazon. But I got a publishing company. I get to publish my books, and I'm getting 200 books Wednesday, and
Yeah.
I haven't sold not one book. Don't want to
And that's
sell
the
the book.
name of it.
I promise you. Look,
That's crazy. That
you
man, that's crazy.
because you
Man,
have
that's
to tell the story of the caterpillar, even though
yeah,
you're the butterfly. If you never tell the story, they'll see butterflies all day long. They'll see you
exactly.
walking
Yeah,
around doing what you're doing now. But the youth and
yeah,
people around us don't know about the caterpillar and what about the destructiveness, about where you have come from. And when you tell it, they get to truly understand the journey of way of your experience in life. So
yeah,
look, before me and you'll talk about this in a little bit, but
yeah.
back to your book. If you could do well, I want you to tell them where they can find your book.
Oh,
Every
my it's on,
platform, name all your platforms, and then the last thing I want is a word of wisdom from you. When you done drop many jewels, but I need a
yeah.
word of wisdom.
All right. So the book can be found on my website at carlosparkspeaks.com. You can order from there. It's on Amazon. It's also at nomoresuits.com. You can purchase it there. And it's another platform. I forgot where it's at. But and yeah, my word of wisdom, never put off for tomorrow what you can do today. Those are
Mm.
words I live by, right? Never put off for tomorrow what you can do today. And because I'm big on procrastination, don't procrastinate. You know, take care of it now. Yeah, like you, I spoke to you yesterday. We're interviewing today. You know, so that's somebody who's motivated, who's pushing forward, man. A kindred spirit, man. So yeah, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the time on here.
Thank you, Mr. Parks, for your time for the moment. I appreciate the moment.
Yeah,
Because
likewise.
moments are everything. You may not remember your entire life, but you remember pivotal moments. So thank y'all for watching. This is Art and Hustle, Black Authors Matter. Go get his book, please. I need y'all to look. Go purchase this book. Look, from what is it? Give me a title again.
From selling bricks to selling bricks.
Look, go get this book. Learn about his life. Look, not just you ain't gonna just see the butterfly. You're gonna see the caterpillar, but then you're gonna respect and have a more admiration for the butterfly itself.
Butterflies.
Love
Yeah.
y'all. Thank y'all for joining.